All right, I'll say it. I hate influencers. I can't stand them. I just hate them so much. The sponsored posts, the fake smiles, the over-the-top holidays, the clickbait captions. Ugh. It's exhausting. Anyway, here's the protein powder that I bought last week because some girl on TikTok said it cured her anxiety. So yeah, look, we've all done it. We roll our eyes at the shirtless finance bro or the wellness girl who drinks that green sludge at 6 a.m. and we will say, but I'd never fall for that nonsense. But then we see a reel about how they built like a 6-figure business from their phone, and suddenly we're checking if we still have that ring light in the attic to follow their lead. Does that sound familiar? Now, don't worry, you're not alone, especially if you work in marketing. We love to pretend that we're above the hype because we see behind the curtain, but secretly, we are just as addicted to the dopamine hits, the discount codes, the juicy stories. We say that we want authenticity, but we will binge watch the fakest people on the internet if they've got a good hook. Influencers are ruining society, he says while clicking save this post for later. Look, here's the thing. We say we hate influencers, but we still follow them. We still engage with them. We still buy from them. So what's the disconnect there? Why do we claim to loathe the very people that influence us the most? And more importantly, what does that say about us? This isn't just about influencers. This is about envy, identity, sales, social status, self-deception. It's about you, the marketer, the creator, the person who thinks they're too smart to be influenced, but still ends up with a bunch of stuff in their cart that they didn't even know existed until yesterday. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the love-hate relationship we have with all influencers. Let's talk about the lies that we tell ourselves and the truth behind why this form of marketing works so well. Influencers are the worst, right? The constant product plugs, the fake crying, the sort of accidentally candid shots in full makeup. They're narcissistic, they're shallow, they're overpaid, there's some reason always on a yacht. We get it. Your life is better than ours. Must be nice. Now, you've said it, I've said it, everyone has said this. In a recent survey from ntribe.com, 29% of social media say they flat out hate influencer content. They go, ugh, influencers, so fake. Everything's an ad now. They'll promote anything for a check. But here's the twist. This isn't new. We've always had influencers. Brownie Wise sold millions of units of Tupperware in the 1950s through home parties. She basically turned housewives into brand ambassadors long before Instagram was even a twinkle in anyone's phone. She was even interviewed on talk shows. Another example is Martha Stewart, who didn't just sell recipes and DIY products, she literally sold a lifestyle. She curated an identity and packaged that up. She was Pinterest before Pinterest. Now, at the time, they weren't called influencers, but that's exactly what they were. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Muhammad Ali, Paul Newman. People look up to them. They copied them, they trusted them, and then brands built empires on the aspiration that they created. We used to call them spokespeople, like George Foreman being a really good example of that. So why do we hate it now? I think it's a little bit because it's no longer TV personalities or even like catalog icons or celebrities or sports people. It's everyday people with ring lights in their pajamas. They're making 6 figures while you are kind of still trying to figure out how to put everything together. But here's the weird part. If we all hate them so much, why are we still watching? Why do we know who they even are? Why do we scroll their feeds, check their stories, binge their YouTube vlogs? Why are they still showing up at the top of our algorithm? Let me introduce to you a little phenomenon called hate following. Yeah. Now, that is when you follow someone just to roll your eyes at them, to sort of tut at their drama, to feel ever so slightly superior while still consuming every second of their life. Psychologists say it can even be addictive. It might make our blood boil, but we keep going back for more. Can you believe what she said in her latest story? Says the person who has watched it 3 times, screen recorded it, and sent it to their group chat. And the truth is, we don't just hate influencers, we need them. They give us someone to react to judge, to gossip about, to feel better than. Because sometimes it's easier to hate someone doing what we wish we had the courage to try. To build a personal brand, to put themselves out there, to make money by just sort of being themselves, or at least appearing to. In fact, 72% of women follow social media influencers, yet nearly half say they want to see less influencer content in their feeds. Right, let that sink in. We are literally giving our attention to people we claim to dislike. And guess what? That attention fuels their reach, it boosts their engagement, and it makes them even more influential. Here's the knife twist. A lot of the time, we don't hate them for being fake. We hate them for being rewarded despite being fake. We hate that they've sort of cracked the system, and while we're still posting, content that's valuable and getting like 3 likes and a share from your gran. Thanks, gran. And don't pretend you've never thought this. Like, why them and not me? I could do what they're doing. I actually know what I'm talking about, which may be the case, but they were the ones who hit record. They posted it, they built the audience, and now you are watching them. So we hate follow, we mock, we judge, but we also click and we scroll and we share. So the question isn't just why do we hate influencers, it's why can't we stop watching them? All right, quick experiment. If you're so above influencer culture, go ahead and open your phone, check who you're following. Go on, I'll wait. Let me guess. There's at least like one fitness guru or one productivity bro or one girl who makes like iced coffee and dances in her kitchen or whatever, someone who sells mindsets or funnels or authentic vibes in every other post, right? Maybe that sounds familiar. It's okay. This is a safe space, this channel. You're not broken, you're just human. We follow influencers, even the ones we claim to hate, because they make us feel something. Now that could be an aspiration, it could be admiration, it could also be resentment, it could be FOMO, it could be rage, but it's not nothing. It's never neutral. That's what's important. We love to hate watch. The reason I like watching horror films is because I like attractive people getting slaughtered, right? It makes us feel oddly superior. At least I'm not that ridiculous, you might think as you queue up their next post. Think about the first thing you do when you wake up. Your eyes are barely open, you're already thumbing through stories on autopilot, and there she is, that influencer. She's already had her lemon water and her yoga, she's done her journaling, she's had a green smoothie, she's done an 8K run before 7 a.m. and you're still lying in bed wondering if you can push that meeting back by 15 minutes just so you can stay under the duvet. You hate her, you admire her. You ultimately wonder how she does it. You wonder if it's real, and you keep watching. That's the hook. They make you feel something. And when you feel, you engage. And when you engage, the algorithm feeds you more of them because it thinks you want more. And the reality is it looks like you do. Here's what no one tells you. That influencer that you roll your eyes at, you probably know more about their life than their own family. You know their partner's names, you know their skincare routine, you know their house layout, you know their Amazon storefront. You've basically built a one-sided friendship with someone you've never met, which is called, by the way, a parasocial relationship. And it's very, very powerful because your brain doesn't always know the difference between real connection and sort of digital familiarity. 4.2 billion people use social media globally, and usage surged during the pandemic. And we're all scrolling more than ever, whether we like it or not. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, okay, fine, but I only follow the good ones, the real ones, the non-influencer influencers. Ah, yes. The ones who say, I'm not like those other influencers, while also linking their LTK, offering a freebie download and teasing a big announcement coming soon. Got it. Look, I'm not here to shame you. I follow them too. We all do, because we're tired, we're bored, we want to feel connected or entertained or seen. Influencers, whether we like the word or not, have filled that role. They are your late night company, your lunch break distraction. They're your morning scroll routine. And yeah, sometimes they're your dopamine dealer. So no, you don't really hate them, not really. You hate the feeling of being pulled in. You hate that they affect you. You hate that they're winning by being someone that you think you wouldn't respect, but you don't look away. And neither do I, but here's where it gets even messier. It's not just that we follow them, it's that we buy from them. Even the ones we swear we can't stand. All right, so let's just rip this plaster right off. That's a Band-Aid for the Yanks. You have bought something an influencer recommended, right? Don't lie. I know you have. Don't look away. You have. Well, no. I only follow her for her cooking tips. Well, sure, I watched the unboxing, but I didn't buy it or anything. Right. Except you did. The Amazon package waiting downstairs says otherwise, right? Here's a fun fact. 74% of consumers have bought something because of an influencer. That's 3 out of 4 people. Statistically, that is you and me and your cousin who swears he's too logical to fall for that shit. And here's what's really insane. All those ads and posts from influencers and brands that you say you hate, well, research shows that if you're shown 10 adverts, but if you click or engage with one of them, your brain only registers 9 adverts because the one you clicked on was relevant to you. It was different. That one doesn't count because it was specific to you. We only categorize influencers and ads as influencers and ads when they aren't relevant to us. The ones we follow are different, apparently. But here's what's really fascinating. Even the people who say they hate influencers buy from them. They even buy from the influencers that they hate all the time. So you might scoff at the Instagram skincare girl and you call her cringe, but then one day you notice that your moisturizer isn't hitting the same, or your favorite ratcheted screwdriver stops working. So you check her reel, you check their posts, you check their comments, you tap the link in the bio, and boom, you've spent some money. You've now got a glow serum enriched with real diamonds en route, or some ratcheted screwdriver from some tech influencer. You have been influenced. Now, this isn't failure of intelligence. This is how influence works. It doesn't shout, buy this. It whispers, people like me use this. This is what works for us. This is normal. You should already know about this. And we buy into that because we're wired to trust people we feel connected to, even when we know that it's marketing. 69% of consumers say that they trust influencer recommendations more than content from actual brands, right? Let that sink in. You trust at Real Mum of Two more than the official website of the product that she is literally holding. And honestly, you probably should, because brands are trying to convince you, but influencers are trying to relate to you. And it's not just the product. It's the sort of tribe. You want to belong. You want to feel ahead of the curve. You want to be part of the, oh, I've already tried this club. There's nothing more satisfying than when someone says, have you heard of this artist? And you've already been listening to them for a while and you're like, yeah, you didn't know about them? That's not a flaw. That's called being human. So when you roll your eyes at the wellness guru and you say, well, I'd never fall for that, you're still drinking the exact same fucking greens powder or whatever it is that she uses. Yeah, you fell for it because it worked, because it was good, because she made it look easy, because part of you wanted to. I don't think you got tricked, all right? You didn't. I think you got inspired. You haven't fallen for a con, you've just followed a story. It's kind of like how in the film Warrior with Tom Hardy, when Tommy absolutely thrashes Mad Dog, you get pumped up. You know it's fiction, but you still feel inspired and motivated to train harder and be a winner. You didn't lose, you've joined the team. And now your kitchen is full of influencer pics that you claim to hate. Funny that. Here's where it gets a little bit more uncomfortable. Because if you're in marketing, if you're building funnels, if you're selling anything online, there's a pretty good chance that you are doing the exact same thing. So let's talk about that. So you hate influencers, but you've bought from them. You follow them. Secretly, you respect them. And here's the uncomfortable part. If you're a marketer or a creator or a funnel builder, you probably are an influencer to an extent. Yes, you. The person posting daily on LinkedIn, filming storytime videos on TikTok, running lead gen ads with your face in them, sharing testimonials, writing email sequences with urgency and persuasion. You're doing influencer stuff. You're just calling it content. Now you're out there teaching authenticity, building a brand, selling products, trying to grow your following by pretending you're not an influencer. You tell your audience, I'm just here to help. I'm just being honest. I'm not like those people. Yeah, That's literally what every other influencer who says they're not an influencer says. If you've ever posted a carousel with the caption like, read that again, or I said it earlier, let that sink in, you're probably an influencer. If you've ever said link in bio, you're probably an influencer. If you've ever said on camera like, this changed my life, speaking in complete hyperbole, you are an influencer. Now, congratulations, you're part of the club you claim to hate. And honestly, it's not a bad thing, because being an influencer, when done right, is just marketing with a face. It's marketing with trust, with personality, with connection. It's what people actually respond to now. The real issue isn't that influencers exist, it's that bad influencers exist. Lazy ones, fake ones, misogynistic ones who sell snake oil bullshit with a filter and a discount code. What you hate isn't the concept of influence. You hate seeing people win without playing by the rules that you were told to follow. You've probably studied strategy, you've learned copywriting, you've read the books, you've followed the frameworks, and now someone with a ring light and a phone is outselling you. And of course that stings, of course that feels unfair, but maybe it's not about fairness. Maybe it's about visibility or emotion or trust or relatability. And maybe you are sitting on all of that, but you're too afraid to use it because you're scared as being seen as cringy or inauthentic or, God forbid, an influencer. Essentially, you're afraid of being judged and disliked. But here's the deal. You can build in silence. You can post middle of the road bland content. You can hide behind frameworks. Or you can own your voice. You can share your face. And you can actually influence the people you want to serve. Because, like it or not, that's what sells. Influencer marketing isn't going away. In fact, 50% of marketers now use influencers as like a core part of their strategy. Not because it's trendy, because it works. So maybe the goal isn't to reject influencer culture entirely. Maybe it's to do it better, do it smarter, do it with integrity, do it with strategy, with actual value behind the post. Because the ones who do it well, they're not cringe. They're just ahead of you. So stop pretending you're above it. You're already in the game, so you might as well play it like a pro. So we've clowned on influencers, we've played ourselves, we've had a little laugh, maybe a little bit of an existential crisis as well, and probably a few awkward flashbacks to some purchases that we swore we weren't influenced by anyone, but hopefully now you see it. The truth is, the whole I hate influencers thing, it's not really about them, it's about what they represent. Effortless success, visibility, validation, freedom, being liked, being seen. And that stings a bit when you're working your ass off writing copy at 1 a.m. and someone else is selling out a course with a 3-minute story and a selfie on a beach. But maybe we don't hate them. Maybe we hate that we love them. Maybe we hate what they awaken in us. Jealousy, insecurity, desire, curiosity. And maybe they're just doing what we wish we had the guts to do. So let's flip the script. You don't have to become an influencer to succeed, but you do have to influence. You have to show up. You have to tell stories. You have to make people feel something. That's how you earn trust. That's how you move people to act. That's not cringy. That's communication. That's leadership. That's sales. That's marketing. I've always said that sales is just a transference of enthusiasm. So the next time you hear someone say, ugh, influencers are the worst, just smile, because now you know the truth. They're not the worst, they're just playing the same game you are, and they're winning. Now you're probably wondering why there are so many kids richer than you who have all got these, who are all these children that have got Ferraris and like Malibu villas? Well, I've got a video here explaining the dark truth behind why so many of these kids are richer than you. Now warning, this contains some pretty gruesome details and even a murder.